Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me and wanting to learn how to organize the perfect event. This is my first video, but hopefully I will lay out all the things you need to organize an event and help it to run more smoothly. If you have any questions about my video, at the end of the video there will be places where you can contact me, and I'll be narrating throughout the video as well. So once again, thank you for joining me for my first demonstration on how to organize the perfect event. So let's start with when to start. Okay, you've all heard of the catchphrase, the early bird catches the worm. And that's just that. Your birthday, your anniversaries, your children's birthdays, holidays, they all fall on the same day every year. So you can begin organizing your event as early as a year out. And I usually plan my birthdays a year out in order to help me spend gradually versus having to spend a whole lot of money at one time. And for my children, I usually try to do it 6 to 8 months out because children, they like things one day, the next day they don't really like them. So that way you'll kind of figure out what they really like in that time, and you'll see it over and over again. So you can do it how far out as you want and how in advance you want. It just depends on what you prefer. The next thing is where to start, the what. Let's begin with the what, and that's basically the atmosphere and the visuals. You will want to write down exactly what type of event you're planning, whether it be big or small, a wedding or a birthday. Just make notes of all the details of your event. You may want to include the atmosphere you're trying to achieve. For instance, you're having a 1920s event. I like to watch movies from that time, and I Google food and beverages to make sure I'm true to the environment, but that's just my preference. A lot of people just like the decor, but I also sketch out what I visually want to see. And I know I'm not an artist, but I just try to put things down on paper, so when you try to explain to people what you're wanting, it's on paper and they can kind of visualize it with you. And it's just a simple stick figures and all of that. And the when is just when, the date. So you need to make sure you write it down, and if it conflicts with anything else that goes on in your life, especially if you have families and you want them to participate, you need to make sure that everyone's calendar is syncing with yours. Now, the where, that's always important. I usually have events in home, so I can do just about anything that I want decor wise. So if that's an option for you, you might want to consider it. But if it's not, you need to start looking at venues as soon as possible, because if you have a summer birthdays, there's less likely to have events open, and depending on the month of your birthday, sometimes you just have to figure that out in advance so you'll know what possibly are your decorating options, because a lot of venues won't allow you to do certain things. So make sure you know everything about your venue, and if you know in enough time what you can and cannot do, that may affect the atmosphere and the visuals you're trying to achieve. I think that this is like one of the most important slides that I made, because how much will this cost? A lot of people don't really understand what I do when I try to sit down with them for consultations for an event, because I know that a lot of times things look extravagant, but the way I break down the cost of things really helps you save money, to be honest. So the budget. I'm very conscious of what I spend, but I have yet to set a true budget. I set a price not to go over, but since it's my part, I can basically do what I want. But I also set a price that I think things should realistically cost. And you have to like stick to your guns. You can't say you're going to spend this and then the next few days or months you go into it and you're like buying excessive things and they don't even really match. If you have things put together, you just buy those specific things. And a kids event should not cost the same as an adult event unless you have it like that. But everyone doesn't have it like that, just to be honest. And an in-home child event should not go over $200 or $300. And an outside kids event should be like $400, but that's like age 1 to 5, and that's around 10 to 15 guests, and that's in-home again. So kids are usually satisfied with basics like pizza, sandwiches, chips and sodas, cakes and cupcakes, a few games. And it's the adults that are turning kids events into these big extravagant things, and half the time the kids don't even remember all the extravagance. They just remember the basic things like what they ate. So, but it's like again I'm saying it's up to you what to do. But I try to shop for deals, and I'm always on the clearance racks. And that's been a thing of mine. I've learned how to go in most stores and I know what each store offers versus I'm just going to go in one store and just get everything. I know what Walmart offers and what Michael's offers and what Joann offers, and it may seem like they offer the same thing, but they don't. There are some sections of those stores that um, offer things that are unique to that store when it comes to what party decor looks like. And also you should try to get familiar with the people inside the store, and they can actually start telling you like when shipments comes in, and you can see their new things like the day of the week. I know like Dollar Tree maybe, I think some of the stores get shipments on a Tuesday, so I would know to go on a Wednesday because Tuesday they're basically having boxes in the floor. So I've learned the trends of the store to help me shop better. And also I know what time of the year to shop. Like my birthday's in January, so I usually don't have like luau's or whatever. And so, but for some people, they do have those summer birthdays, and every year the Dollar Tree and Walmart have luau things. So if you know next year you want to have a luau when the summer is almost over, you should go to the store and try to get some of those things on clearance so you can get a bunch of them instead of waiting to the month of your birthday and then having to spend all this money. So you just have to learn how to shop and start making your shopping list in advance. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Schedule everything. I have a buying schedule and an order schedule. The more you have mapped out, the more prepared you are. I make a list of groceries to buy as well as when to order food. And you need to decide whether or not you're going to cater or cook all the food yourself. And then you make schedules for what specific things can be bought. For instance, my event is in May and I start in December. That's 6 months to plan and 6 months to buy what I need. And there are a lot of things that are easy storage like plates and condiments, and some things can be frozen as well. So you just have to know, make sure when you have your menu together, you make those buying and ordering schedules, and you just make that list of things that you can buy over time. Okay, I do cook a lot and I've tried different recipes and things, but everyone's not a cooking person. So if you're not a great cook or baker, what you want to do is set out days to cook your menu. if you're deciding to cook. Don't just assume the recipe is foolproof. Try it out, taste it, get other people to taste it. You may need to double the recipe or add extra things to make it taste better. Never assume that a printed recipe is flawless. You can see what needs to be changed in enough time to fix any problems. And you should do this at least 2 to 3 months in advance. And if it really doesn't go well, you have enough time to fix it. Games and entertainment is by far come a long way with me. I used to just Google games and make the basic pin the tail on the donkey and stuff, but I try my best to entertain my guests and do out of the box activities now. For instance, I love the 80s, and I love the 80s movie Real Genius, and it's about science and the dorm surroundings of this high school kid that goes to college early because he's really smart. So I transformed my dining area into a science themed environment and included pieces of the movie that stood out to me. I had science experiments in relay form to test guests, and the winner was named Real Genius of the Night and was given a trophy. I had an easy version for the kids, and they were awarded with a medal as well. You just have to know your theme and try to do more with little. All I needed for the experiments were household items, which means they cost nothing or little to nothing. So I really didn't have to add anything to my budget. You just want to give your guests an experience that is a memorable one. And if you're creative like that, fine. But if you're not, you can always just Google things. There's nothing wrong with Googling party games. Reflect and adjust. This is pretty straightforward. Go over everything and anything that wasn't done or went wrong and needs to be adjusted. This could be anything from if you haven't bought something in a certain month, or if you didn't order something. This is the time you set aside to fix all of those things that you didn't do with previous schedules and time and things. More schedules. Yes, more plans, more schedules, but I've created a downloadable organizer to help assist with keeping track of all these schedules and lists. And if you've made it to the week schedule and the day schedule, that means you've been keeping on track and you're doing a good job. And if you're making these schedules, it'll help things run smoothly. So let me explain what these are. The event week schedule is just that. You schedule cook times, bake times, decorating times if you're in home, or if you can decorate early for your event space. That's what you do. You write down Sunday through Friday or Saturday, whatever day your event falls on. Everything and anything that needs to be done needs to be on this list. Your buying schedules and your ordering schedules should merge with the week schedule, or they should be completed. It just depends on what you had to do for each month. And for the week schedule, you should base it on storage times for perishable foods as well as space available in your refrigerator. Like some cake, if you're baking your cake, some can be baked earlier and stored in the refrigerator or freezer. Certain cookies can be baked and stored. You just have to know how far in advance you can cook certain foods. Make sure you know before you do it, so you don't want to make your guests sick if you don't really know the rules of how to store food. So make sure you know it before you start doing those things. And make sure you have space available for that also, because I tend to not cook as much the week of an event, so I have enough room in my refrigerator to store my party foods. And the day of event schedule is an hourly breakdown of that day's duties. Allow for emergencies to happen. So if you know something may take an hour or so, you may want to cushion in an extra 10, 20, 30 minutes just so if something was to arise, you're not rushing to try to fix it. We all tend to say we can do things on our own, but depending on how big your event is, you will need help. You will need to ask people for help. And two heads are better than one, and a crew is better than being alone. I do most small in-home events alone. I have ample time and I know exactly what I want. But bigger events, I ask people a few weeks in advance, but my family knows by now if it's really big, they gotta help. It's just something that comes with me doing an event. They just know that they have to chip in. And I usually ask family or close friends because they know me and they know what I expect, and they most likely will be there. And if they're a part of the event, they can see what they've done and can be proud also of the event that we put together. And make sure they can follow through, and you don't have to babysit them because that's the worst thing possible. Because if you have a sketch, like in the beginning, from the beginning, you had a sketch, and if they see exactly where a fork goes, a cup goes, a plate goes, it should not be any back and forth. They know exactly how to sit things on a table, so that'll help out a lot. And you should know you give clear direction and expectations up front so everyone is on the same page. I know they may not be paid, and if they said yes to volunteering, they should be willing to just listen to your direction and follow through on your plans to help make the event successful. Enjoy your day. I know I said that the budget information was important, but this is just as important. Try to enjoy your day. If you have followed your schedules and plans, most likely your event will start on time and run smoothly. Follow the schedules. Don't make plans and expect things to go as planned if you don't follow through. Like, I do assisted coordinated events, which means I do part of the plans and the client does the other half. If either of us don't follow through on what we're supposed to do, the plan is going to fail. The event is not going to be successful. But with that being said, you still have to be able to adjust and be flexible and give up control. That goes on both people's part, the host as well as the guest. Some things are just out of our control. Circumstances arise and you just cannot, there's nothing you can do about it. For example, my wedding day. It was beautiful. I would say like 80% of what I wanted happened. But people knowing that I'm very particular were like, why aren't you stressing out about this? Why aren't you stressing out about that? It's because the day is meant to be beautiful with decorations or whatever, but the main point of that day was me to get married, and I did exactly what I wanted to do. I married the person that I wanted to marry. So all of that other stuff wasn't as important as me being happy on that day. But also, with that being said, another important point, if the bride makes a seating chart and has stayed up all night the day before to finish it, just sit where she tells you to sit. If you didn't RSVP and have to sit in the back or do other things, just know that you didn't do what you were supposed to do. If you didn't do what you're supposed to do in an event and you have to adjust, that's on you. Not the bride, not the host. So just follow through with the host or the brides or whoever the party is for. Make sure that person is enjoying their day. It's not about you if it's not your day. But on a lighter note, um, no matter how big or small your event is, people always tend to criticize. I've been to some of the most extravagant events. I've been to some of the most intimate events. And it was just the atmosphere of how the people made me feel, not the decorations. So do your event for you. Don't do it for other people. And I've always said, it's your choice. You choose to party. Don't let someone else take that from you. It's your choice. Well, we made it to the end, and hopefully I've given you enough information to help you successfully start organizing your own events, as well as encouraging you to start doing a lot of things on your own. If you have any questions or concerns about the video, you can find me on Instagram or Facebook, and I've also included my email information. Last but not least, another source of information is my book, Organized Junk, Making It Your Business. This book gives a background of why I started organizing events this way. It also has examples of buying schedule, the weekly schedule, as well as sketches from past events. This book, along with the organizer that I've created, will help you to schedule things and organize parties on your own. And I hope all of this information is of use to you. And like I said before, no matter how grand or small your event is, people will always criticize. We just live in a world where criticism just seems to be a, a daily habit for a lot of people. So do your event for you, and remember to choose to party. Thank you for your time, and I hope I've given you enough information, and I look forward to hearing from you.